돌아온 영들 리턴하지.
사연이와 함께하는 신규팩 공략법. 오늘은 이제 비치 연꽃이 남아있는데요. 과연 그 비치 연꽃 여러분들이 어떤 식으로 또 활용하면 좋을지 저랑 지금부터 한번 확인해 보도록 하시죠. 비치 연꽃의 조직 카드들을 보면 아이아 블랙4와 비치 연꽃 요원, 비치 정령이 있는데요. 드루이드 같은 경우에는 역시나 비치 우상을 이용해서 계속해서 이제 비치 골렘을 키워나가는 그런 컨트롤 덱을 완전히 잡아먹는 컨셉의 덱이 있는데요. 그 플레이 제가 지금부터 해보도록 하겠습니다. 일단은 드루이드를 제가 일단은 굉장히 컨셉에 맞춰서 키웠는데 주술사를 만났어요. 같은 이제 비치 연꽃 조직의 일원이죠. 근데 다행인 거는 사실 이 덱이 가장 약한 점이 해적 전사였는데 해적 전사를 안 만났다는 거, 그것만으로도 저는 감사하고 열심히 한번 해보겠습니다. 약을 지금 3개나 집었어요. 4개. 4개 집었는데 이러면 설계를 잘해야 되거든요. 여기서 정신자극을 쓰고 비치꽃을 쓴다면 다음 턴에 3만화. 괜찮은데? 급속동작 써줍니다. 네. 잠깐! 이 카드는 3코스트 비치꽃으로 급속성장과 똑같은 효과를 갖고 있지만 추가로 비치 골렘을 하나 소환해주는 카드입니다. 그렇기 때문에 비치 컨셉의 이제 드루이드에는 급속성장, 정신자극, 육성뿐만이 아니라 이 카드까지 사용해서 무려 4개의 약을 사용할 수 있겠네요. 이런 식으로 비치 골렘이 처음에는 1코스트에 11이죠. 그 다음 거는 이제 비치 골렘이 2+2가 될 거예요. 2코스트에 2. 오, 멀록? 멀록 술사? 와, 전투대장. 그런데 지금 비룡을 잡아서 이 불안이 살아버렸어요. 왜 살렸니? 2, 3, 3 정리하고요. 파도술사. 너무 센데? 오, 잠깐만. 오잉? 이게 뭐야? 뭐 조금 놀랐는데 많이 놀란 건 아닙니다. 정리하고요. 판드랄, 천벌 뽑아주고 정리. 오, 몰록 점쟁이로 들어봐줘요? 고마워요. 비치꽃으로 마나 펌핑 하면서 비치 골렘 4사로 만들고 비치 정령으로 5호짜리 나가고 이러면 답이 없어지거든요, 점점. 안 나갔으면 좋겠어요. 왜냐면 좀 더 저는 이런 상대방을 괴롭히는 게 즐겁거든요. 휘둘러치기 하면 나갈 것 같으니까 까마귀 우상으로 주문을 보고 한 번 더 주문을 보고 비치 우상을 집어주고 비치 우상으로 66짜리 골렘, 비치 개수로 77짜리 골렘. 여기서부터 그냥 답이 없는 거죠, 이제. 다음 턴에 킬각이죠. 절대 질 수가 없습니다. 이렇게. 이건 그림 좋았다. 이거 드디어 처음으로 설명하는 것 같다. 3번 만에. 그 수모들. 그 과거 해상 잠깐만 해주세요. 너무 그 수모들이 떠올라가지고. 이거 없었던 걸로 하면 안 될까요? 한 번만 더. 제발. 한 번만 더 기회 주시면 안 될까요? 뭐야, 잠깐만. 리아 빼야? 잠깐만. 내가 방심했어. 진짜 방심했어. 안 돼! 진짜 깔끔했다. 감사합니다. 이런 식으로 비치 연꽃 카드들은 비치 골렘을 키워서 상대방을 한 번에 제압해버리는 특징이 있습니다. 사실 제가 이제 여러분들께 보여드린 것은 어떻게 보면 3개의 조직들만 또 보여드렸다면 조직들뿐만이 아니라 도적의 은신, 아니면 드루이드의 토큰, 뭐 이런 식의 굉장히 해적, 이런 식의 굉장히 많은 컨셉의 카드들을 또 이제 이번 확장팩 때 많이 공개를 했는데 사실 이거를 아직 저에게 많이 다 못 보여드린 게 아쉽지만 이런 것도 대회에서 보면 또 괜찮지 않겠습니까? 이런 것들 조직들 뿐만이 아니라 다른 컨셉도 역시나 저희 캐스파컵 대회에서 확인해 보시고요. 캐스파컵에서 전해드린 짧고 굵은 정보 저와 함께 살펴봤는데 제 결승전 함께 보러 가시죠. 그럼 지금까지 C9 프로게이머 따윤이었습니다. 감사합니다, 여러분. 안녕.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 2016 Hearthstone KeSPA Cup. It is the final day. Round of 4 and finals will be played today. My name is Valdez. With me tonight is Wolf.
That's
How are
right.
you doing, man?
It's our final day, man, of this 3-day tournament, and I'm excited to see what decks will make the cut for a remainder 2 matches. Each player will have at least 1 to play. The winners will advance to the grand finals. And it will be 2 best-of-5s as we already had in group stage, but the grand finals will be a best-of-7. So we'll see more decks. It will require 4 decks in order to win the entire tournament in that best-of-7.
So everybody had to bring 6 decks tonight, just in case they did make it into the finals. And that means there will be some extra picks down there at the bottom. Of course, you do have the first pick, and then you get to ban 1 class from your opponent's 4 remaining classes, and then you ban 1 from your 3 remaining, and then you have 2 left over. I suppose the case will be that they'll have 3 left over, and they'll play with those instead for the finals.
That's right. So, going to be a pretty exciting series here. As you guys can see, here are our results. We had some close series, but overall, I'd say the player that really stood out the most to me, dominance-wise, was Dahyunny, the player who is now representing Cloud9 in this tournament, is likely to be the winner of this tournament if things continue the way they already had. Time and Caster impressing on day 1. Caster having a tough run, Time much cleaner, and CheOnsu as well had a pretty easy run in the final match last night.
Yeah, CheOnsu, he was doing quite well. There was one deck that he wasn't doing all that well with. He wasn't finding too many wins with his super aggro warrior that he brought, so maybe he changed it up for the final day.
And our Keck TV prediction rate here is 50-50 for Time and CheOnsu, the first time they face each other in this tournament. As you can see, CheOnsu did represent Korea at BlizzCon. Time getting second place in Season 4 long ago, but a famous Hearthstone player has been around in the Korean scene for a long time.
Yeah, very, very true. So we are going to be jumping into the introduction over here on the Korean side of things. We'll do our little hellos. And we'll be getting into these games in just a minute. As you did see up there, it is going to be CheOnsu versus Time to start off the day. And then we do have, of course, Dahyunny and Caster going up in the second match. So bear with us, guys, as we do our little introduction here. Just going to say hello.
자, 그리고 오늘 저와 함께 경기 해설 말씀에 한국어 중계뿐이 아니라 저희 글로벌 중계까지 같이 하고 있거든요. 자, 글로벌 중계진부터 여러분들께 소개해드리도록 하겠습니다. 울프 그리고 브래든 여러분들께 인사드리도록 하겠습니다.
안녕하세요. 저는 발데즈입니다. 반갑습니다.
안녕하세요, 울프입니다. 오늘 제일 재밌는 경기 된 것 같아요.
어허, 네, 알겠습니다. 야, 정말 한국 사람보다 더 한국말을 잘해요. 그렇습니다.
요새는 이제
So
한국말을 워낙 잘하기
there you have it, guys. Just doing our little thing. Wolf saying today should have the most fun matches, and I would have to agree with him. I kept it simple. I was just like, hello, nice to meet you again for the third time. But yeah, it is going to be pretty fun coming into this one. This is the day everybody's been waiting for, the finals. And if you're just joining us now, definitely go ahead and tell your friends that this is on. It's on YouTube, you know, give them the link. Tell them to go to Esports TV and find this, because this is the top level Korean Hearthstone that you'll find in the world.
That's right, and definitely going to be an exciting final day here. We will be taking a closer look at the matchups and the bans coming up a little bit soon. But before then, do get out there and tell your friends, because I know you're probably sitting there twiddling your thumbs, wondering, I want to watch some games. I didn't come here to watch two white dudes in Korea talking about Hearthstone, but with the game off, I want to watch two white dudes in Korea watching it with the game on, but it's not on yet, so tell your friends during this little time period, this little window.
Yeah, and if you've been with us all 3 days, first of all, thank you, but you kind of know the way that this goes, so you're probably already on your computer just playing a game right now. You know, you're playing that Jade Druid and you're not getting your draws and you're angry, but it's okay. Next game will be better. Maybe you can switch to Pirate Warrior or Shaman or something like that and have a little bit more luck, perhaps. Another deck we've been seeing have a lot of luck in this tournament is Rogue. Shaman and Rogue, definitely the two best picks, and then Warrior, I think, closely behind that.
Yeah, and as I said yesterday, I feel like whoever can figure out the fourth deck the fastest, you know, in that 24-hour period we really had between last night and today, and I guess really even a little bit shorter than 24 hours. This night ended last night ended pretty late, and we're starting now several hours before. So really about like maybe 20 hours of time. Whoever can come up with that fourth deck that's going to bring the consistency in these best of fives and in that final best of seven is likely to win the tournament. Obviously, Hearthstone does have an element of luck, but I think the strategy and mechanics chosen and the strategy that you use to decide when you're going to trade and predict things, the mind games that go into it, I feel like Dahyunni has been a way ahead of everyone else so far. So I expect he's going to be the one who brings a new deck tonight.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And as you said, there's not that many decks. When you have to bring 6 decks, there's not that many, options that you're going to have. So we'll see if anyone brings something crazy, something totally new. Or maybe they'll just bring something kind of new that we don't see all the time. Maybe a different mage deck. Maybe we'll see that freeze mage once again. Definitely a possibility coming into here. But as I said before, we are going to start off the night with Time versus CheOnsu. We're going to get into that pick and ban kind of showing here. The
That's
CG.
Right. This is really, pretty exciting one, because this matchup is going to be closer than the other, in my opinion. This is going to be one where you take a look at it and go, well, it really could go either way, and there's no way we'll know until we see which decks are played. So there's a lot of tension being built right at this very moment as we get ready to do those picks. I may in fact be doing them and giving them down to the referees as we speak. That's how down to the wire this is. There's CheOnsu.
CheOnsu, one of our more meticulous players, even roping on a mulligan.
Yeah.
One of his games, one of his first games. Maybe he was just trying to calm himself down, or he was playing that mulligan game, trying to act as if he had some super hard decision to make, when in fact no super hard decision was to be made.
What's interesting about these matches too is the first match is always where you get to see the tone of the day, because later on you already see all the decks, but each day every player can bring new decks, new archetypes, new techs into their deck. So this is the third and final day, so we could see something completely different from what we saw yesterday. But this is the time where we're going to see the most mind games, the most self-ban sort of interesting picks there to hide decks that you want to use later on, say in the finals. If you self-ban a deck here, if you lose, you're never going to see it. You have to make it to the finals to see that self-ban. So anything self-ban here could be something hidden for that finals. Of course, everyone's hoping that they will be making it there.
And that would require a lot of confidence as well. If you kind of hide one of your secret decks because you think you're going to make it to the finals and you can win with your other decks, then you better hope that you win with your other decks. So here we go into the pick and ban. The first pick was, of course, Shaman. No surprise there, but the bans are kind of interesting. Warrior ban against Time and a Mage ban against CheOnsu.
Yeah, and we're going to see Time self-ban Priest, which means that's what he's been hiding. CheOnsu self-banning the Warlock, probably wants to save maybe that Reno log for a longer series. And then we're going to have Rogue for both, and the variation being here the Warlock versus the Warrior. Time bringing Warlock, and CheOnsu bringing the Warrior. So no new archetypes really here, very likely just yet. We'll see what techs they've brought in here. We'd be curious to see if either of these players teched in a Lightning Storm to their Shaman decks, because that seems like something that would maybe win you the mirror matchup oftentimes.
Yeah, even just one, and people are just saying, hey, nobody's running Lightning Storm, nobody's running Hex right now. I can just flood the board. I can do whatever I want, essentially, because of the lack of, AoE removal or, a singular kind of polymorph effect. So this is a lineup that we've seen pretty often. The one thing that's interesting about this as well is that there's no Druid for either player. So they have 6 decks, but they chose these 5 to show for the semifinals and then self-banned a couple of them. So guys, we're going to jump into game number 1 right now, Time versus CheOnsu.
Shaman Mirror to start things off, no surprises. And Patches in hand here for Time. Will definitely want to mulligan that back. We'll probably see the Spirit Wolves mulligan back as well for CheOnsu, but as you described earlier, he may wait for a little while before doing that. And never trust his initial mulligans because he always makes it look like he has a lot to think about.
Yeah, he's pretending like he's going to mulligan all those cards, but I think the Tunnel Trog into Totem Golem is definitely what you want to do. Of course, you will be overloaded for the 3rd turn, so you're not going to want those wolves just yet.
Falls into that Buccaneer, and that's not going to be a bad drop if he gets his Jade Claws or his Spirit Claws coming up. South Sea Deckhand not as powerful right now, but could be used next turn. Unfortunately, there's no real reason to coin out the Jade Claws because it will not be able to clear the Trog. So not an easy turn here for Time, and that's kind of the pain of going twice sometimes, as you've got this tool, but there's not much use for it right now, referring to the coin, of course.
Yeah, going second, not the best feeling in the world sometimes. You sometimes have to make a mediocre play, and we've seen in a lot of these games that if one deck or just one player gets a really great start, they can run away with the game. And Shaman is one of the decks that is, it's happened multiple times with Shaman. Rogue is another one, and that's part of the reason why they're very scary decks. So lots of thought going into this first turn, roping on turn 1. He is being that guy that you see on the ladder.
Yeah, well, the thing is, even if he gets Patches, can't clear it. Looks like he's going to go for the Claws. Next turn he'll be able to South Sea. He could take only 1 damage if he wants to work on this already. They can kill with Patches next turn. I think this is the way. He's also going to have this 1/1 Jade Golem on the field. So, not a terrible start, just he's significantly behind and he did have to use his coin. The significance of the coin is that, it's the one turn you get to go first, basically. Every other turn you go second as the second place or the second turn player. So you want to get some massive advantage off the coin, and this puts him into an average position, which means it's pretty frustrating the coin to be used in such a way.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it on Time's face as he was thinking through that turn, because just playing Tunnel Trog and you don't have a Totem Golem of your own means that if your opponent does, you're pretty screwed. Or if he has a Pirate and Lightning Bolt, which is another option that he could have taken. And it's kind of this mediocre feel when you go for the coin Jade Claws, but it's not like he had much of another option here. So, see what he wants to do now.
Well, he South Sea Deckhands, he will get Patches. And that will allow him to clear one of the 1 health minions. And he may just kill the Buccaneer as well.
He can full clear here if he wants to. That's the question.
He doesn't have the mana for Maelstrom Portal, which would have been really nice. Would have given him an extra minion. I think he just simply has to deckhand and clear, which puts him behind. The other thing too is he then becomes weaponless. So he has no weapon and no board after doing that clear.
And then looking at his current cards, turn 3 would be, Trog into Maelstrom Portal. It's like, not so good comparing it to what CheOnsu has right now. His turn 4 is nice. If he can say, non-overloaded and go into a turn 4 Flame Wreath Faceless, that would be pretty nice.
Could also Jade Lightning the Golem, which he doesn't know exists, but it'll also give him a 2/2 to follow it up. That only is going to be useful if he has a clear board, though. And he's going to go for the Trog, actually. The Trog has a lot of health, but unfortunately, this is going to allow an amazing turn for CheOnsu, who can buff his Trog twice and clear with a Lightning Bolt. And this is going to be now a 3-1 Trog with a 3-4. And he is going to get a significant amount of face damage done. Maelstrom Portal not good here. And as you mentioned, he doesn't yet have 4 mana for the Jade Lightning, so this is pretty dirty.
He can almost clear here. That Thalnos is interesting. You see time kind of go back. He's like, But I think he has to Maelstrom Portal, use the deckhands to clear the deckhand and...
Oh, nice 1-drop. Injured Gavaldir again. And that is a card that originally does 3 damage to itself. That's why it's such a strong 1-drop, so it comes out as a 2-1. But if you get it like this, it doesn't use its battle cry. Here's Patches, finally appears, and with this, he can clear both.
Yeah. And he may choose to. He may choose to keep the claws, just because that 1-1 is... you know, if CheOnsu does get a weapon, it is kind of scary. So maybe he will just clear it, especially with the next turn is so strong for him.
He also didn't. He does no overload. I feel like if he clears it, basically anything that CheOnsu does is he can deal with it. He could even top deck Spirit Claws because he does have Thalnos to use with that. That's something that he could use. He's still got 2 of those probably in his deck as well. Let's see.
He's really going down to the wire, to the end of the rope to make this decision, and I like it. I think this is a great decision.
With the Gavaldir on board, you're really just not afraid of anything. Now, notice CheOnsu brings the golden Maelstrom Portal. Doesn't give any bonus points, but he doesn't really have much of a turn here. He's forced to Jade Claws, take 2 damage, and this momentum has swung in favor of time. Now has
Finally, he goes for the quickest turn ever after being a worse CheOnsu from yesterday, roping all the way down to the end. But
this is so terrible for CheOnsu. Even if he plays the Totem Golem and the Maelstrom Portal, assuming time didn't have the Jade Golem, it would be very weak play. But or so not Jade Golem, Jade Lightning, it would be very weak. But he has Jade Lightning, so it's even weaker. He gets his own Gavaldir. The chances of this happening twice are insane.
And that's Hearthstone, right? I mean, this is
like, have you seen a shooting star? Have you made a wish? Did you ever win the lottery? No, this is rarer than that. It's still not, I mean, it's the best thing CheOnsu could have asked for, but it's still not good enough.
And it's really good too, because if it was any regular 1-drop, he could have cleared it with Spirit Claws and Thalnos, and he could have had a full board clear, but now it's kind of awkward, so now he's just going to go for the Totem, and he gets Taunt, which is pretty nice.
Oh, so nice. I'm going to waste that weapon charge. And if he goes for the Gavaldir here, it means that the Totem Golem gets less value from its attack points. It'll still be an interesting choice. He'll keep more health on his Flame Breathe Faceless. But either way, it would still be killed by Jade Lightning. Already 1 Lightning Bolt used by CheOnsu. He's got 1 left, so that's really what he's thinking about here is like, do I protect this from Jade Lightning? He has no cards in hand.
Oh, he's going to go face.
Wow.
Oh, last second, he looked like he wanted to attack, but he didn't.
I'll trust that he decided not to and didn't just simply miss the attack. Reasons for both, but without Thalnos, I'd say waiting is probably the better choice. You definitely considered it, though. Absolutely. Flame Wreath here can just trade into this. Can he clear everything else, though?
He just picked up a second Flame Wreath faceless, timed it. So, you know, Jade Lightning, a decent idea to go for the Totem Golem, or you could just throw down a big minion.
He could also... He could take a really risky play and hope for a Taunt Totem, and then trade into the Golem. That's something we have seen players do in this tournament, is take the risk on that one. Usually with 1 Totem on board, he does not have one now.
Another thing he can do is clear the 7/7 with just his weapon and Jade Lightning. but you take 7 damage. So against the Shaman, that can be a risk, but it's a pretty good clear. But do you want to take that much damage at this point in the game? He's going to go for the totem.
Oh, and he gets the taunt! Incredible! That's incredible.
Happy Feast of Winter, man.
This is the risky play we've seen so many players take in this tournament, and it's going to pay off in huge dividends in this game. Although, to be fair, I don't understand why he made that choice. He's going to play his own Flame Wreath, but I was going to say he just simply does that, kills the totem, goes face, does 7 damage. There's no way to clear it. His opponent has no cards, but well, this turn plays itself. He can hero power twice.
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't get what he wanted there. It's a golden Myrtleton, so he gets a golden hero power, so that's always cool. But definitely wants to go Fire Blast here, I'd say.
Yeah, he already used 1 small-time Buccaneer. Oh, okay.
He goes for the recruits.
I wonder why.
And it gives him a larger board, and no one is running Lightning Storm, as we mentioned before. The longer that the recruits survive, the more value they gain. It's kind of a greedy play.
It's good for maybe the health total that time is at, because as you said, the longer they stay on the field, the more value they're going to get, and it's going to take forever for you to clear all these 1/1s with just a 7/7 on board. He does have the Spirit Claws. How many charges of that weapon does he want to use? So, an interesting idea. I can't really fault him for taking the dude hero power.
So, small-time Buccaneer, a good play. There's nothing in hand currently to buff the Trog. Small-time Buccaneer will just absorb damage at this point and help clear. The Gavaldir can be killed. He could go face with the 7/7. He's going to clear this first. Not really worries about totems anymore now because he went for the Paladin. Hero power. Yeah, I'd say go face. You're not really that good at fighting Gavaldir. And now I think he's going to be pretty happy he did. Because that 7 damage is going to be much harder to get after these wolves come out.
Yeah. The rest of the board will be protected by these wolves. That small-time Buccaneer with the 1 charge on the weapon to give it the buff is pretty nice against the wolves. CheOnsu knows this, but it's not like you can't not play the wolves here. It's basically your only move. So he's going to throw those out. You can always clear the small-time Buccaneer with his Gavaldir if he wants to.
I'd say he probably will. We'll kill the Jade and force the 7/7 to run into wolves. The other option is to go face with everything.
He's thinking about it. Both of these players are very low. This is a very close game.
Let's think about what direct damage he has left. He still has both Jade Lightnings, right? He doesn't have...
Lava Burst?
Yeah, he has Lava Burst. If he was still running it, we've seen some players tech that out in favor of other cards like Rockbiter. We don't know yet if this deck runs Doom, the Doom Hammer and the Rockbiter, but very unlikely. I feel like we would have seen one or the other by now. So yeah, it's very likely he does have the Lava Burst. So he's going to trade down the Jade Golem to 2/2 to eliminate some of that damage. There's a Lava Burst. But it's not enough yet. He doesn't have lethal yet.
Well, if he uses the Spirit Claws, he clears both, and then he goes face.
It's only 9 damage.
And then he can Lava Burst with the 7/7. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. He can clear this wolf. Yep, you're absolutely right. There it is. Lethal.
Man, that draw on the Lava Burst was just what he needed. And time
game.
with this very meticulous, slow play will take the mirror, which is so important, as we saw before. Looks like this guy really wants it.
Very solid play there and a good draw at the end. I once again forgot the weapons from their thoughts. But there you have it. So winning the mirror, again, we don't have stats on this, but I'd love to see how important it is to win the mirror in Shaman and what the stat of winning the series is, because he has some more flexibility after doing so. Shaman is the strongest deck right now. most pro gamers are saying. The Rogue deck is the second strongest, which is why I always say it's the strongest, because Shaman is just a given, and you can't ban it, so that's how the banning phase works. You can't stop the first pick, so we see Shaman here almost every time, except Dahyun, because he's like ahead of the curve, but...
He's got snipe builds, he's got snipe decks. Very smart player. Now, we'll have to wait and see what Time is going to pick this time around. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Shaman once again out of CheOnsu. As you said, strongest deck right now. It can beat pretty much any deck. And if I'm not mistaken, he has his Rogue and Warlock left over, Time does. So we'll see one of those two decks coming out here. And it looks like we're going to jump into game number 2 right now, so let's go into it.
Okay, repeat Shaman. Time will pull out his Reno lock, which does run Spellbreaker.
And look at that, he's got Reno in his opening hand. That's the one card you want to see. You're running Reno lock for a reason, because Reno is the crux of the deck.
Because if you run Reno and you get him, you're gonna be rich.
Exactly. Well, he could be if he wins the semifinals on the back of a good draw here from his Warlock.
We'll see what else comes to pass here. The cool pairing here with Reno and the Mountain Giant is quite powerful because you can draw often, which means you'll get the Mountain Giant faster, and you're not worried about your health pool because you have Reno. You also have Doomsayer. The hand on the other side for CheOnsu is not terrible. He does have 2 Totem Golems. He doesn't have Spell Power. Would have rather had Jade Claws probably. This is not a weak first turn.
You saw he kept 1 Totem Golem, and he was hoping for a 1-drop. You know, like a Tunnel Trog would be nice, a Small-Time Buccaneer, second best. But, yeah, I mean, as you were saying, you can just do double Totem Golem here, and it's not so bad.
It's, in fact, quite good. This might actually force a Doomsayer play from Time to buy some more, no pun intended, time on his end.
So we'll see how he wants to respond here. He can clear this with the Lightning Bolt and his weapon, but it's off curve. Looks like he's just going to totem and go face, let it die. Goes face with his weapon too, wants to begin putting on pressure. But with a start like this, where the Reno lock has Doomsayer and Earthling Ring Farseer and Reno, he's getting all of his early game cards that he needs to clear stuff from the Shaman. Even the Mortal Coil is decent, you know, if Patches comes out or he needs it to do that 1 extra damage for clear. Now this is going to be annoying. Flame Wreath Faceless. 7/7 on the board. No real way for the Warlock to deal with this just yet. I suppose you can Soulfire, but if you lose Reno, you lose the game, so...
Yeah, you want to avoid that at all costs. The second rate Bruiser doesn't get cost reduction without any other cards.
Oh, he's doing
go
it.
for it.
He's
Risky
doing it.
play.
Oh, okay. And he loses Mortal Coil. I mean, I think it makes sense because you have such a great clear there, and the chances that you lose Reno is 1 in 7. So,
yeah, pretty good odds. I never bet my life on it, but I'd bet my, you know, when I'm up 1-0 in the series, like first game Reno lock on it, yeah, I'd bet it.
Yeah, me too. The great thing about this, as we mentioned in some of our other casts, is that if he wins with this Warlock here, he has Rogue as his last deck, and sometimes Miracle Rogue, this Piracle Rogue, as you like to call it, it doesn't draw well. You just get bad draws and you lose a game. But if you have 3 chances to win, then there's a very high chance, I believe, to take the win. So,
well, this is the first time we're going to see Sylvanas on board in this tournament, and it's very frustrating to deal with. You don't want to clear and save your minion, because your minion then becomes your opponent's minion, so he has to overkill this. And now he has an awkward turn. In fact, might have actually wanted to play the Trog first there, actually, to gain the buff. A misplay. Absolutely. Misses 1 damage. He lightning bolted before the Trog.
But he would have lost his Trog to the Sylvanas.
Oh, so. That's right. Yeah, what am I saying? Wait. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So,
Well,
wanted
no,
to-
wait. He could have played. He could have lightning bolted. No, never mind. Never mind. All right. I just wanted to explain myself, but I'm like wrong in every regard. This is actually a pretty solid play because he gets the cost reduction on secondary bruiser.
And it's only a down nose. It's not something scary like a second Flame Wraith Faceless. Jade Claws right now is not what he wants. He has a 3-2 weapon in hand. Does have many other ways to clear. You could even Jade Lightning the 4-5 for an instant clear with his spell power.
Yeah, he's 1 mana off clearing both with his spell power he's got here. And that's the Dirty Rat is so powerful in moments like this against aggro decks.
Yeah. Maybe if he totems and gets spell power, it's 1 and 3.
Yeah,
Then he could.
that would mean he could Jade at least the Dirty Rat and then maybe perhaps pass to deal with that larger health poison and go for it. If he taunts, it's okay, he gets it.
Gets it, nice.
All right, so
He needs some luck right now. He's not doing so well in this game.
okay, let's see. I mean, I think that's the best play. It's still going to be expensive at every aspect of this. Oh my god, I'm like, he's going to lava burst his own Trog? That's crazy.
Yeah, that was scary.
Okay, this will allow double trade. He's going to save his Jade Claws, or Jade Lightning, but most importantly the Claws. Keeps both spell powers, in fact, which is kind of frustrating for time. He could actually Shadow Flame. He could Shadow Flame this Peddler to clear the board. That would be pretty, I'd say pretty inefficient. Just gonna drop the Peddler first, see what he grabs.
Blast Crystal Potion picked up as well, so if the second Flame Wraith Faceless comes out, it's just going to instantly go down.
Tentacle of N'Zoth is actually not bad here. The Chicken and the Dragon Hawk are pretty bad, so he's gonna go for that one. Will help clear low drops going forward.
Yeah, I wonder why he didn't play it, actually.
He might want to try to pair it with Shadow Flame, I guess, to get a double, you know, I mean, he can get a 2 damage clear that way, essentially. I think he's hoping his opponent's going to start going face. Like, I think he's really trying to bait that right now. He's like, I dare you to hit me with face with everything, and then I'm just going to heal it. And I think that might be what's about to happen. With the Flame Tongue in hand, hovered. It'll be a big regret for CheOnsu if he Flame Tongues and Jade Lightning's face and nearly gets lethal, only to find a Reno on the next turn. He knows that's a possibility.
Yeah.
This is the story of this matchup in this tournament. Like, does he have Reno or not? If he doesn't, I could really make a big play. If he does, I literally just lose.
This is a really hard turn for him because of everything you're saying, but also there's many different things he can do here. Many different ways to play it. He could trade out minions, he could use his weapon, he can use Jade Lightning. It looks like he wants to go face.
At least initially here. I think it's going to be a full face turn though if he commits to this. Oh, no, he's actually going to get card draw. Oh, no, he's not. Okay, I thought that was Thanos he was targeting.
Oh man, look at this. Gets him down to 6 health, only to find a Reno right in his face. Now, he doesn't necessarily have to play Reno here. If he wants to, if he says, okay, you have 1 card in hand, can I clear your board and play something else and then play Reno on the next turn?
He can Tentacle of N'Zoth, Shadow Bolt, and Shadow Bolt the Flame Tongue Totem, and then Shadow Flame, or is it Shadow Flame or Shadow Strikes?
Shadow Flame, yeah.
Shadow Flame, right? The N'Zoth Tentacle to clear the remainder of the board. The only thing that would require 2 damage would be the Spell Power Totem, but it would go down. It would give CheOnsu a draw, of course, so he'll have 2 cards in hand, then 3. Oh, he's going to Reno.
Yep, decides against it. Can't really blame him. It would be pretty risky. CheOnsu already has 1 card in hand, and the amount of direct damage that Shamans do have is pretty scary. So goes for the Reno. CheOnsu's not happy about it.
The Aya draw here is not actually terrible, and he can clear Reno. With 2-2 already the size of the Golem, he could get a 2-2 and a 3-3, and then of course a 4-4 would follow. It's a pretty rough situation in general, but it's not a bad draw considering the current state of the game. It's a Flame Tongue as well, it's not terrible either. It's just so many options for lethal had Reno not been in the hand.
Very true, and I hope he clears that Reno, or else he's going to be facing a Shadow Flame. And that's the thing about when you're facing Reno Lock, because every card is unique, there's no copies. He could be saying to himself, well, he had Reno, I hope he doesn't have Shadow Flame, but he has Shadow Flame, so it can be scary like that sometimes.
Okay, this is an incredibly difficult board to deal with without Shadow Flame, but with it, it looks just like a 4-4 to me. That's all I see. Do you see anything else on this board? All I see is a 4-4. I don't think there's anything else on that board.
Yep, doesn't look like anything to me, that's for sure.
He will have to use Bran, though.
Oh, you haven't watched Westworld, that's right. Oh my god.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's alright, you're going to watch it soon.
Every day I tell myself I'm going to start it today, but I haven't done it yet. He might actually have to... Technical Dazat's not going to clear everything.
He's got 2 pieces of the combo right now.
But he doesn't have Thorson. That's what he would need to really just cost it down one more, then win the game, basically. I think he might have to Shadow Flame the Mountain Giant. That would leave a 4-4 on the board for his opponent, which would be deal with the Shadow Bolt next turn.
Yeah.
And
it's, you know, you lose your 8-8, but he's thinking about
Shadow
Faceless,
Flaming his Faceless,
and then Shadow Flaming. That's what I was thinking, because if but he's going to lose a part of his combo. But he gets, you know, one small take gold of his own. It's kind of interesting to me. It looks like he really wants to save that 8-8.
The combo is not that useful versus aggro. It's very powerful versus slower decks, especially tempo or kind of like light control, like Dragon Priest or something like that, where suddenly they don't have a taunt and you just win the game even though they think they're safe. It's an old combo, but you know, it's still quite
But it
useful.
checks out.
Yeah, it checks out.
Yeah.
We'll see if he can survive. Now that he's chosen this path, it's still a huge full board here for CheOnsu.
CheOnsu is laughing right now. Yeah.
I think
he's
just
like, what the
"All right,
hell do I do?
How many more answers do you got in your hand over there, Time? What else you got in that hand?
Well,
he's like, well, I got Bran, I got a Shadow Bolt, so like,
he's like, there's no way he has Hellfire, right? I was looking for that top deck Hellfire. I was waiting for it.
Well, the play here is not. It's not obvious. He will likely have to Siphon Soul something and might just end up branding. He plays the 8-8. There's still so many taunts to deal with. He'll get rid of one, but the second one is still going to be around. And CheOnsu could actually find his way back into this game.
Okay, I was thinking he might do this, but then he doesn't get any Molten Giant out, but it's, you know, you want to clear everything out so you can't trade with the Molten Giant, but he uses 2 of his direct damage spells.
Does he get spell power? Yes,
He does. Second time. He's just going to give up those Jake Claws and go face here.
I don't know about this decision myself. I would have rather saved 1 extra turn of 2 damage than had 3 turns of 3, very likely. With all the board clear, the only thing he's worried about now is Demon Wrath to get rid of the spell power with 2 taunts on board, so he probably could have kept it 1 more turn.
He picks up that Sun Fury Protector, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, he can taunt up the 8-8 this turn.
Yep, he can draw, put down the Molten Giant, and then taunt.
Puts his health pretty low, so he's definitely considering, do I draw or not?
Yeah.
How many cards does he have left? Like 13, I guess? 12?
12. Oh, wow, you were close.
I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah.
Pretty good at guessing things like that. I don't know, somehow.
CheOnsu's at 15.
I like not drawing here. It feels like it's going to cost so many resources to get through the 8-8 and the 1-1 as well, that it just doesn't feel necessary to draw.
It's very scary too, because with spell power on the board that he can't necessarily clear anytime soon, Any spells that come out is going to be pretty scary. He does get the Mistress of Mixtures, so that is some extra heal that he just picks up right now, which can definitely help him. And look at this, Jade Lightning right off the top. And that's a 5/5 that's coming out of that Jade Lightning.
Yeah.
So it's not just any old small Jade Golem.
You know, this is the first game where I feel like we've really seen the power of the Jade aspect of this Shaman deck. Normally it's just this added bonus, extra little damage, but this is the first time we've really seen Shaman versus Reno Lock where the Reno heal goes off, but the Shaman still looks like, oh, I have a late game here, you know? Be afraid.
Just makes the deck so much stronger because if it's aggro versus aggro, you're gonna win before it gets too big. But if the game goes long, then you have these giant Jade Golems that they can't really deal with.
He didn't trade with the Wolf because he wanted damage, but had he traded, he would have gotten healed back and would have kept the totem. And would have had a taunt for certain next turn. Something to keep in mind. Wanted that one extra damage instead with the Wolf.
Every damage matters. And looking at the hand of time, it's not looking so good.
Yeah, he's... Let me think. Like, he has no way to deal with the 5/5 Barn Reno. He draws. I think he has to. Oh, top deck's the Abyssal though. He can't use it though.
Yeah. He can't.
Well, he can heal with it, but it's still not going to be enough. He goes up to 9 and then goes down to 6.
Yeah, and he's not going to be able to kill the 5/5, so that's
he
it.
dies too. So there you go. CheOnsu wins, and Shaman's removed from both players now.
Very, very close game, down to the wire. Reno in hand, and so many answers early on, but Time just still could not win. A bit disappointing.
He had answers and he had heals, but he never was able to take real full control of the board. It was always against him. Even with the early Sylvanas that we saw, he was always on the defensive.
Turn. He coined that out too. You know, maybe if he kept the coin and he got his Mountain Giant out a little bit earlier instead of that Sylvanas. Also, CheOnsu rolled 1 out of 3 spell power totems, which really helped him out in doing some extra damage and clearing the board and just doing some base damage. So keep in mind that that really helped. Because of that as well, he was able to use a Spirit Claws that gave him an extra 9 damage over 3 turns. So had he gotten, you know, just a Searing Totem or just some other, you know, healing totem or something like that, then it would not have been nearly as clean for CheOnsu.
Here we go. Game number 2. Shaman's removed. We've got 2 rogues, a Warlock and a Warrior. We'll likely see the Warlock come back out. We'll see what CheOnsu is going to bring to the table. Will he bring the Rogue or will he bring the Warrior? Yet to see either class today. Let's jump into game number 2. Number 3.
Warrior versus Rogue is the choice. Not going to be playing that Warlock again for Time. And this is that very pirate-heavy, pretty aggressive Warrior deck out of CheOnsu.
Yeah, it's the one that runs the Captain as well, which can be very amazing if you're winning, but if you're losing, it's almost like a dead card. Van Cleef in the hand is going to be kept.
Yeah.
And this is a weak early game for Time, but if he gets a little bit... oh god, that's a terrible hand for CheOnsu though.
Yeah.
He's pretty lucky actually that this hand for CheOnsu is so bad because his is terrible against such a hyper-aggressive deck.
Oh man, the aggressive Warrior deck has to armor up on turn 2.
But now Time's like, wait, is this Control Warrior?
Yeah. It's like, wait, what? And you see CheOnsu grinning in his chair like nobody's business, and Time's like, what is going on exactly?
He's like, maybe I should save this charge. I don't know. Like, let's just wait and see. He's like, maybe I should hit his face with the 5 damage. He's still undamaged. He's gonna actually hit face. He's like, I'm not really sure what's going on.
Well,
Okay, well, this is the awkward Brawling Berserker turn. Will probably just be removed immediately by the strike.
Preparation.
He could prep, do this, and then grab an early
6-6.
Yeah, early 6-6 Van Cleef. Everyone always thinks the Van Cleef has to be the Miracle Van Cleef, but I mean, in some cases you can even turn it out.
Yeah.
On turn 2 and get a 4-4, like it's quite strong.
What is CheOnsu going to do now? He can't trade with Cork Run. There's nothing he can trade with. He just has to awkwardly put out minions.
He's probably just
Go
gonna go
face.
face with this, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, and that can, if he gets a backstab here, or had he had one in hand, it would have been terrible.
And look at this. I mean, he can just go face himself.
Yeah, this is going to be a race that CheOnsu, for the time being, absolutely cannot win.
Yeah. If he wants to play it really safe, he could just throw out Tomb Pillager and trade. But, you know, really the only way for the Warrior to clear that is with the weapon. He doesn't really want to use Mortal Strike. So it's also not a bad idea. I think that's what he's thinking about right now. Keeps his 5-4 alive. It's going to be very hard to kill the 6-2 Van Cleef. And
remember when I said about when you're winning, it's a great card, but when you're not, it feels useless? There's that South Sea captain for you. Give him patches. Patches will get 2-2. I hadn't really considered that.
It's
will actually help
bad.
him clear. Never forget about your patches.
Interesting. Eviscerate draw. Pretty nice.
He's got the Gadgets and Auctioneer as well. And right now it seems in Mean Streets of Gadgets, the Gadgets and Auctioneer rules the streets.
I guess that makes sense.
Well, next turn, if he gets a counterfeit coin or his second preparation, it's going to be an amazing turn. He doesn't have either yet. We're going to see Mortal Strike used here.
So painful. This is the way this deck always goes. I know this is the first... Oh, it's, you know, he's getting a really bad start here. But in a lot of his other games, too, when he played this deck, it just did not go well. He has 2 coins now, picks up Conceal.
Oh my god. Is he going to Swashbuckle? That's interesting.
Picks up... What is that card?
Sleep with the fishes. That's not going to be very useful for him right now. It could be useful later. We'll coin out Conceal, has a second Conceal.
Oh boy.
And
well, he's got 2 Eviscerates in hand, too. This game might just be over.
Yeah.
Leroy, 2. 7 damage right now. I think he's considering whether or not to attack with his weapon.
13 in total with Leroy. Without Leroy, 15 with 2 Eviscerates that are empowered. The game doesn't end here. You know, I can't call this game over, but without a miracle, CheOnsu will likely lose it. He needs like a Bloodsail Corsair or something. I'm not really sure what he's got. Oh, well, there it is. That's what he needs. We'll drop this out with a South Sea captain.
You get Bloodsail Cultist too.
Yeah.
Suppose he could go face if he wants to start.
If he brings the Cultist, then he gets the Corsair for free. Not that it matters, he has enough mana anyways. He's gonna save the captain. Or they're just gonna make this look cool where he's like, I'm mana efficient. Oh, he's actually gonna play the Berserker. We'll get bopped.
Yeah, so many 1-1s on the board, and that 3-3 as a taunt. But at the same time, still so much damage on board.
He can clear the taunt with Sleep with the Fishes, draw a card, but it would clear his 1-1s as well. It's a 2-mana spell. Will empower his Eviscerates. He can then kill the Berserker.
Sleep with the Fishes.
First time I've ever seen this card played. Here we go. What's the animation like? Oh, pretty cool actually. It's only damaged minions?
Yep, only
that was
minions.
undamaged. Okay.
So, going to eviscerate this. Going to spend one of those. He wants to keep his gadgets up. Oh, is he actually going to use the other one? I guess with 2 Gold Bloods still in your deck and Leroy in your hand, it makes sense to just keep your board healthy.
He also has a second gadgets in. He's never going to run out of cards, and he's got so much damage done to the face anyways. Leroy feels like a dead card here. And make this into a 6-3 and then a 7-4. Kill the Auctioneer. It's really the only play. Grab 2 more armor. Like you said, it always feels like when CheOnsu's playing this Pirate Warrior, which seems to be identical to yesterday, it always feels like he's trying to survive, which is the opposite of what this deck is designed to do.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but
he can actually backstab for 3 with this SI7. He'll draw 2 cards. Oh, preparation.
it's going to be nice for his next turn. If he needs to even throw out the gadgets down.
He's gonna just use the Thalnos to kill this for free. And like you said, he's not gonna use the gadgets in. So much threat here. Upgrade, not gonna be very useful. He has 10 damage. It's not even half of what he needs. And looking at it, I think that Time has lethal next turn. He has 8 damage in hand, 6, 7, basically already on board. He won't be able to use his weapon because, no, he'll have 9. Yeah, he can weapon with that. No, he'll need 10 to do that, sorry. The 1 out of 8 made me feel like he already had 9 for some reason. He was about to get 10. This turn is just a tragedy for Time. There is no good play.
It's pretty rough.
I'm sorry, for CheOnsu, yeah.
Yeah. If he trades into the Drake, he's taking 4 damage. He can armor up again, but you got to think with the Rogue that's drawn this many cards, what really is your best option? You know that you're facing lethal in like 2 turns. Do you just try to go face and just hope he has no damage somehow, some way, and then you pick up some magical cards? But
I mean, yeah, maybe he top decks.
He's literally just roping and not moving. Okay, there you go. Thinking about it for a while and then deciding, no, I have lost. That's kind of the way that game was going regardless. So using that Rogue to take the win, and Time has his Warlock left that he has to win over the course of 2 games.
Really unfortunate hand for CheOnsu. That game could have looked totally different. He had one of the worst hands we've ever seen with this deck. And as you were saying, and I really will agree, CheOnsu's performance with this deck has been pretty weak thus far, barely winning with it yesterday, and seems to be the same list that we've seen already. This is no fault of his, though, in this game. He just simply had a bad hand. He was quite literally dealing with the cards he was dealt, and Time now just needs to win with Warlock in order to advance to the Grand Finals. One of the oldest long-standing Hearthstone pro gamers in Korea here could pick up another title.
And we're about to jump into game number 4 here. We'll be seeing Warlock against either Warrior or Rogue. And he's got to win with 2 of them. He's got to win with both Warrior and Rogue if he wants to move on to the finals. Time is 1 game away. Let's find out who is going to move on here in game number 4 between Time and CheOnsu.
Rogue will be the choice for CheOnsu this time. He's going to switch off the Warrior. And he's still rocking that all-gold deck. Patches looks real hungry, but unfortunately he will be going in the way. See you later.
Keeps that Van Cleef. Really like the Rogue versus Reno Lock matchup. I feel like it's pretty favored for the Rogue. And I don't know, that Reno Lock, it's seen some success, but it hasn't been the strongest deck that we've seen so far in this tournament.
Well, Demon Wrath is out here. This is a pretty weak hand actually for Time. Does get Thorson, which can be very useful for those pieces, as we were talking about previously. he may want to save backstab or a backstab coin Van Cleef. That's what it looks like so far.
It's a pretty dirty turn 2, that's for sure.
He'll heal the damage taken. And
Could do that, or... Oh, is he actually going to go even further than that? He can prep Cold Blood, the Mistress of Mixtures, then backstab coin Edwin. And that is a 10-10.
10-10? Yeah, that's right, with the 2 extra spells I was thinking, yeah.
And it's going to be turn 3, right? So
if he doesn't do it, he might lose his Van Cleef to the Dirty Rat, so...
I just like the backstab coin Edwin turn.
Yeah, you don't really need to go to that all in with this. Keep your Cold Blood, it'll be useful later on your own end.
Yeah.
Like for +4 versus the +2 you're going to gain here.
He's going to prep. Okay.
So he saves the Cold Blood and gets the 8-8, it looks like. Oh, he's going to just Cold Blood it afterwards.
Oh boy.
So as
it is turn 3, or turn 2 rather, guys. 12-8. No big deal.
This deck loses a lot of steam when that dies, though.
Yeah, and the thing about this is that Time has 2 answers. He does have the taunt, and he has the... Oh wow, he's just going to play Brad. Okay, I was going to say Doomsayer, but...
Bran is such a risky play. He could have had Eviscerate and another low-cost card and just killed it. And he doesn't know that Bran literally gains no value here. In fact, actually makes Dirty Rat so dangerous to play because Dirty Rat will just put the whole board out.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't draw a card from his Drake, but who cares?
Next turn, he Dirty Rat Doomsayer, like somehow like he kills everything. No, not gonna happen, I don't think. Could work, but there's no way for him to know who's gonna get how much value. I think he's gonna go face here.
I like face. You win in 3 turns if you can draw something else, like a Eviscerate or a Cold Blood. Oh wow! I think he's calculating the turns until Reno could possibly come out, but it's only 2. And look at that! Blast Crystal Poison comes out and he goes down immediately. That top deck may have just saved time this game.
Pretty frustrated if I'm CheOnsu right now. He lost a lot of his damage in that Cold Blood that he played. Also one of his preparations. So this Gadgetzin, he's lucky he has it, but he's going to need counterfeit coins probably really to get that empowered. He only has 1 prep left. He used his backstab already. Is not looking pretty. And Reno comes out, so when he sees that later, he might be happy he didn't go for face. Dirty Rat, is he going to go for it? No. This can actually be cleared, but it's going to buy him some time. Draw a card with the Fan of Knives.
Yeah, set up a better Auctioneer turn. Next turn, maybe you draw a counterfeit coin, second preparation. Let's see what he gets here. He gets patches.
Could save a weapon charge with that patches draw. You know, definitely.
Yeah, it's true.
Guess he wants the possible Cold Blood combo with that later on. Use patches this early. And it's going to be a Twilight Drake.
Getting some really good draws off the top here. Twilight Drake is going to be so much better in this position than Refreshment Vendor, because Refreshment Vendor just gets cleared immediately by the Tomb Pillager.
He may want to consider just putting a Tomb Pillager out, hitting face with all, waiting for that Conceal Gadgetzin turn, and then hoping that the following turn he has everything he needs. And instead of the Tomb Pillager, he might do the same with the Drake.
Yeah.
There's no way to kill this except using patches. He's going to give him a coin, so if he does this play, he's going to be looking for just more activation on his Gadgetzins. He has 2 Gadgetzins now. With limited information, obviously I think going face is the better choice. If you know Reno is in hand, you probably don't do that, but I think given what he knows, that was the correct choice. Could get the coin after this anyways.
Kazakus.
Kazakus, as you like to call him.
Kazakus. He goes for the 5, the most common one. We'll see. Steal 5 damage, give your minions 4 health, or summon a 5/5 demon.
I think he took the left most.
Yeah. And what
draw
else
2
is he gonna
cards, give 5 armor and
7 armor.
Sorry, 7 armor and
Add 2 random demons to your hands. I think drawing 2 cards is pretty safe here. You can draw into more answers.
armor is also pretty solid.
Yeah.
I like the armor.
Oh, he's gonna go for it. So it goes for deal 5 damage and gain 7 armor. So he gets basically a free clear on any rogue minion and also gains 7 armor.
Any rogue minion he can see. Now, he can trade this to get the coin for activation. Looks like he's going to play greedier than that, though. Going face. Here comes Gadgets and Conceal. This is a lot of damage, actually, that cannot be touched by time right now. Yes, he doesn't draw any more activation, but he has Zap. And he already has 10 damage.
Ooh. Abyssal Enforcer 1 damage off from killing everything on the board. But I think you might have to Reno here. You can't draw on Reno, which is unfortunate. Dirty Rat.
Dirty Rat is so...
Gives him a minion to hit, I guess. Or to use this on, and you get the 7 armor. Okay. Interesting play. That's pretty cool. You get a taunt too. And plus the 7 armor is really nice. And now I'm beginning to see the reason why the 7 armor is much better.
The thing is, he's just going to sap that. He's just going to sap that right away. And then he is going to eviscerate into what he's got 10, 14 damage. Needs 22. He's going to draw 2 cards if he goes into the face. See what he gets first from the sap. The sap is a good play no matter what here.
Yeah. See what he draws. Backstab. Okay, he gets another free card here. Because he needs to start checking for, you know, Cold Blood, second Eviscerate. Leroy, you know, even as a follow-up. Gets SI7.
I think you have to eviscerate face here. The second Conceal is in deck as well. That would not be a bad draw.
And eviscerate the Twilight Drake.
Yeah, a little more conservative. Can put out the second Tomb Pillager. And that will get on the second coin if cleared. And this may be the Reno turn we were looking for time. As 14 damage on the board, he cannot clear any of those with the Abyssal Enforcer only doing 3 damage. The Rat, not going to save him here. Doesn't have enough mana to Demon Wrath into Abyssal. Yeah, just going to Reno.
Tap a Reno. There you go. Up to 30 health. Still 14 damage on board.
Prep. Nick plays a second Auctioneer and really tries to draw that second Conceal. Could do it. He's going to prep regardless, I imagine, but...
And we don't know 100% if he has the second Conceal. Because in a lot of these decks, you know, he could be running 2 counterfeit coins instead, 2 Cold Bloods, another card. Right? There's a lot of different... it's always been that way with Miracle, where it's like, you take 2 Fan of Knives because you're going to be expecting a lot of aggro. And then you don't take 1 sap because you're not facing a lot of control.
He can clear this Reno with patches, and he's going to get a coin here, so he's going to use the coin first to kind of check out what could come next. There's the second Eviscerate.
He's got 10 cards left.
He's got to have a second Conceal, right? I imagine he does.
It's taking a while with this. Generally, with Miracle, you want to go pretty fast.
Yeah, you got to go fast here. Okay, he's going to prep now.
Uh-oh.
This is worrisome.
Time's counting down. He's going to play Patches.
Gets a nice draw there. Patches is going to come up and hit face. Needs to weapon up.
So much stuff going on. Okay, plays Patches, trades. He made a weapon and got SI7 agent.
I think he did everything he wanted to.
Did he attack with the weapon? He did, okay. He did everything there in the span of about 3 seconds.
Yeah. a tip for our newer players or people who might just not know this, I just learned this recently. Even if the animation is still going, if you click the cards and click where they're supposed to go, everything will happen, even if you're waiting for an animation to finish. You don't have to wait for the sword to hit. You just click your next card and click. And even if it doesn't show up as green or whatever, it doesn't show you the arrow. If you click it, it will go through.
It's good to know.
Something to do, for sure, when you're in situations like this. Everything will technically happen. It might just not look pretty, and you can still perform every action.
So, down to 14 health. He can do that play. Or no, he can't yet. He needs to have 10 mana, yeah. Oh, this is a rough play then. No Shadow Flame.
He can Dirty Rat he can Faceless the Dirty Rat to get 2 taunts. Abyssal isn't going to give him anything, and the Silence isn't going to get him anything. Demon Wrath isn't going to get him anything.
Siphon Soul.
This... Ooh, he's not even going to Dirty Rat here. Very greedy. He might just have sold his soul.
Look at this, 9 damage on board and he has 17 health. But then again, I mean, no Cold Blood drawn. Both Eviscerates used. Maybe when you see double Eviscerate used, you're like, okay, I can play this turn out like this. Maybe hope he plays some stuff and I can survive with all that AoE, but...
He's looking for that Conceal if he has it. We're about to find out. There's Cold Blood. 5 cards left.
He could potentially get lethal here too.
Yep.
He's gonna Cold Blood. He's thinking about it, because if he uses it here and it gets cleared somehow, and it draws Small-Time Pioneer, let's see if he Swashbucklers.
Swashbuckler could get him Soulfire. Like, Swashbuckler could actually win him the game with Soulfire.
I think you have to do it, right? No, he's not going to. He's gonna weapon up.
He could have had that public defender moment.
Well, so, no, that's...
Soulfire gets top deck for time.
Yeah. Maybe he Soulfires his own face and leaves the game.
If he had Leroy, it would have 12 damage with a combo. Refreshment Vendor would heal him. We weren't really talking about him not, we were saying like, oh, maybe CheOnsu gets lethal, maybe CheOnsu gets lethal, but even without it, I think this game is over. Refreshment Vendor is going to not give him enough health. Tharsen's useless. Silence is useless. And I think the best play is to draw, and then if you don't get an answer that way, which I don't think he will, then Soulfire your face, as you mentioned. Let's see if he goes through with it.
But he has 10 cards, too.
Maybe you vanilla Faceless first? No, you'd have to copy it. Hey, he could start drawing some cards with the Faceless. He could Faceless the Auctioneer.
Let's see a Dirty Rat. I want to see Dirty Rat. Yeah. Well, I mean, now he can clear it, I guess. But with all the damage on board, it just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Refreshment Vendor. No. Not going to be enough. GG. And we are going to game number 5 as CheOnsu picks up a win with this Rogue against the Warlock. And it will go into Arena Lock versus that very aggressive Warrior out of CheOnsu.
The question is, can he make the Warrior work this time? He got all the wrong draws last time, and he even skipped it. We see very rarely players don't repeat decks when they lose. He actually switched to Rogue this time, and he's earned himself that 5th and final game. Time looks still very confident despite the loss there. This game will perhaps be decided again by Mr. Jackson himself.
Mr. Jackson, not Mrs. Jackson.
No, she's not in the game yet. Is Reno married? Do we know?
I don't think we know.
He probably doesn't have a good marriage if he's always adventuring and chasing the money. He probably doesn't have time to spend the money he's chasing. He's off adventuring all the time with Mr. Finley.
What does he do with it all? That's the real question. But guys, we are going into game number 5. It is going to decide our first finalist coming into the 2016 Hearthstone KeSPA Cup. So let's find out right now, game number 5.
go, the final matchup. And CheOnsu, again with this aggressive deck. Dirty Rat, not really going to be...
Love it.
The thing is, the Dirty Rat can be good over bad in this situation. It's much worse versus a lot more mid-range Dragon, aggro, Pirate, Warrior decks. Like,
What?
like
What
the
was
decks
that?
we were seeing on day one, which we didn't see as much yesterday. Those decks it can be quite bad against because you can pull a Drake out of your opponent. It's like, oh, oops, wasn't what I wanted. There's Mr. Murgleton. He and Reno aren't friends anymore.
Renly.
He and Reno don't like get along anymore. They're separate decks. They had a disagreement about the money.
So he's got two options here, obviously. Does he want the hook? Does he want the new hero power?
This hero power, super aggressive. He will take the 100 power almost 100% here.
Yeah.
No weapons in hand.
Oh, he'll do both.
He will get patches from this, so he'll get 2 damage.
Boom. There he is, Patches.
Patches the Pirate.
As you mentioned, pretty hungry.
Yeah, he looks like he's about to chow down.
Drooling, chomping down.
Okay, pretty solid start so far for CheOnsu here. Gets a weapon as well. The hook doesn't count as a weapon, so basically not.
I mean, it's rusty, it's not very efficient.
He can save the weapon for next turn and just hero power here for damage efficiency. Next turn, then he can play both the Dread Corsair and the weapon.
Yep. Very good. This turn is, or rather, these turns are kind of playing themselves. And see what time can do here.
Oh,
he's going to Dirty Rat.
Pull out
Leroy Jenkins.
He's going to have to soul fire that. What does he lose?
Kazakus.
That's actually pretty bad, but I think the worst case would have been losing Hellfire.
Yeah, probably.
He
Or Blast Crystal Poison.
can clear this and play the Dread. I think that's really the only play. Otherwise, he can make a crazy strong Berserker, but that could just simply be removed. In fact, there is a direct removal with the
Blast Crystal Poison.
Potion, yeah.
Potion. I don't know why I keep saying poison.
He's going to go for it. I think this play is, from what he knows, the safest. What's in hand, it feels really weak.
Yeah. He can't kill the Dirty Rat either. So he's just going to trade in all this stuff.
That's right, he can.
The Dirty Rat trades into the Frothing Berserker, and then he Hellfires. Or if he wants to save his Hellfire, Blast Crystal Potion.
I think you Blast Crystal here because there's never going to be a bigger threat than this that you're going to want to use this for.
Also, the 1-3 is like, okay, who cares about that? That's really the main reason you Hellfire, and also you're losing your Dirty Rat by doing that. The one downside of this is that you lose a Mana Crystal, but you can get it back.
He also doesn't have a 5 crystal play here, so
yeah,
it's not really that big of a deal.
So definitely the best play there.
We're finally going to see the weapon to kill the Rat and the Corsair, unless he really wants to hero power. He's looking for damage efficiency. I guess hero power is the way, but I think this is the better play.
Can buff it up next turn, that South Sea Captain. Well, it's all going to go die, so the only thing that's scary about this is that no Reno yet. So we do have this Reno lock down to 16, and again, this is a very aggressive warrior that has the Hunter hero power and Mortal Strike in hand.
Here comes that Corsair play. This time he won't have removal for it. And this has been a great hand so far for CheOnsu. He's had everything he's needed, really, for what feels like the first time he has played this deck in this tournament. Bring this down to 13. I'd say there's no real reason to save this. You're not going to run into anything that's going to make Mortal Strike more valuable. And if you do that, you're losing the 3 damage anyways, so... Leroy, not a very good top deck here.
There's a chance, too, that if taunts come out, like maybe you can somehow kill him with Mortal Strike and something else. So you want to just get that through the taunt.
The runic egg, not going to be useful. Possessed villager is going to be not usable either. Like, this is bad.
This is
Actually
lethal.
game.
This is lethal. It was lethal before the Arcanite Reaper came out. You would have had exact lethal, in fact.
Well, this is going to be it. Actually, he needs the Immortal Strike for
Yeah,
lethal.
that's true.
So, there you go.
Wow.
I was going to say we didn't get to talk about it, but this is game. CheOnsu will advance to the Grand Finals. I was going to say, I think he should have faceless the Corsair, but he didn't do it. Played greedy, and that's GG. CheOnsu will advance to the Grand Finals. Oh man, you can see he's so nervous. He was so stressed out. Gets that greedy play by Time, which allows him the victory. Time did not taunt up.
Did not taunt up and does not go on to the finals. CheOnsu will be our first finalist here. Walks off stage like a boss. There you have it.
If you taunt there, you might buy enough time to draw Reno. There's the possibility of that. Your opponent can't kill you with weapons. And the board that he didn't really have there, that was pretty small. Can't be, we'll have to run through this taunt first. Not sure what he was drawing for there with the maybe
a Soulfire?
The 2/2, yeah. I mean, I guess. That's really the only thing he could have been hoping for. But, that decision ends up being the wrong one, and that's sometimes how it goes. In Hearthstone tournaments, you make one mistake like that, and it costs you your tournament life.
The Reno lock just having no success here for Time. He had to play it 3 times, actually. He played it in game number 2, 4, and 5, and he got 0 wins with it. So 0-3 tonight is Reno Warlock.
I mean, we talked about it yesterday, but the slower decks, the control decks, have been the weakest decks in this tournament. They've been the ones with the least win rate. They're the ones that are the hardest to win with, and they're oftentimes the ones that players have to win with last. Druid, Warlock, these decks, I said yesterday, going to be falling out quite a bit, I say, and CheOnsu brings Warrior. He has a struggle with it initially, but does eventually win with it. His Rogue win here was pretty solid. It was a great opening, even with the immediate kill on the Van Cleef.
Imagine if the Blast Crystal Poison didn't come out.
Yeah.
Then the Reno lock would have been in even a worse position. But he does get it. And even so, the Rogue comes back, CheOnsu comes back, and he gets the win.
Looking at this, Reno turn does bring him back to full, but he's still unable to survive as there's just too much of a board and too many good draws with this Gadgetzan and then the second Gadgetzan as well. And that is game over. There you have it.
Yeah, gets him down to 4. There's no real way to stop it. Dirty Rat brings out Leroy, and he just concedes. Well, yeah.
I mean, he does Demon Wrath, but it doesn't matter. And in fact, concedes before playing the tournament vendor. Couldn't take it anymore. But we are going to go on to our next match between Dahyani and Caster pretty soon.
I'm looking forward to that one. Dahyani, he's always got that great personality, but also I feel like we were talking about this before. He seems to be the smartest player in terms of decks. So I want to see what did he bring today, what is he self-banning, and how he's going to play out those decks.
Definitely going to be exciting to see. We'll just have to wait. And I think Dahyani is really favored. This is the series I think is could be the only one-sided one today. That last series I thought was going to be close. It was. And CheOnsu with a very difficult win there. And a lot of his decks shown, obviously, there. So
yeah,
something to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. So, guys, we are going to take a quick commercial break before we get to that second semifinal matchup. It's going to be Dahyani versus Caster after a quick commercial break. Stay tuned.
Next.